Second, Manafort briefed Kirilnik on the state of the Trump campaign and Manafort's plan to win the election. That briefing encompassed the campaign's messaging and its internal polling data. According to Gates, it also included discussion of battleground states, which Manafort identified as Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. Manafort did not refer explicitly to battleground states in his telling of the August 2nd discussion redaction grand jury. Third, according to Gates and what Kirilnik told Pat Manafort, and Kirilnik discussed two sets of financial disputes related to Manafort's previous work in the region. Those consisted of unresolved Deripaska lawsuit and the funds that the opposition bloc owed to Manafort for his political consulting work and how Manafort might be able to obtain payment. After the meeting, Gates and Manafort both stated that they left separately from Kirilnik because they knew the media was tracking Manafort and wanted to avoid media reporting on his connections to Kirilnik. C. Post-resignation activities. Manafort resigned from the Trump campaign in mid-August 2016, approximately 2 weeks after his second meeting with Kirilnik, amidst negative media reporting about his political consulting work for the pro-Russia Party of Regions in Ukraine. Despite his resignation, Manafort continued to offer advice to various campaign officials through the November election. Manafort told Gates that he still spoke with Kushner, Bannon, and candidate Trump, and some of those post-resignation contacts are documented in emails. For example, on October 21st, 2016, Manafort sent Kushner an email and attached a strategy memorandum proposing that the campaign make the case against Clinton, quote, as a failed and corrupt champion of the establishment, close quotes, and that, quote, WikiLeaks provides the Trump campaign the ability to make the case in a very credible way by using the words of Clinton, its campaign officials, and DNC members, close quotes. Later in the November 5th, 2016 email to Kushner, entitled, quote, Securing the Victory, close quote, Manafort stated that he was, quote, really feeling good about our prospects on Tuesday and focusing on preserving the victory, close quotes, and that he was concerned that the Clinton campaign would respond to a loss by, quote, moving immediately to discredit the Trump victory and claim voter fraud and cyber fraud, including the claim that the Russians have hacked into the voting machines and tampered with the results, close quotes. Trump was elected president on November 8, 2016. Manafort told the office that in the wake of Trump's victory, he was not interested in an administration job. Manafort instead preferred to stay on the, quote, outside, close quote, and monetize his campaign position to generate business given his familiarity and relationship with Trump and the incoming administration. Manafort appeared to follow that plan as he traveled to the Middle East, Cuba, South Korea, Japan, and China, and was paid to explain what a Trump presidency would entail. Manafort's activities in early 2017 included meetings relating to Ukraine and Russia. The first meeting, which took place in Madrid, Spain, in January 2017, was with Georgy Oganov. Oganov, who had previously worked at the Russian embassy in the United States, was a senior executive at a Deripaska company and was believed to report directly to Deripaska. Manafort initially denied attending the meeting. When he later acknowledged it, he claimed that the meeting had been arranged by his lawyers and concerned only the Pericles lawsuit. Other evidence, however, provides reason to doubt Manafort's statement that the sole topic of the meeting was the Pericles lawsuit. In particular, text messages to Manafort from a number associated with Kirilnik suggested that Kirilnik and Boykin, not Manafort's counsel, had arranged the meeting between Manafort and Oganov. Kirilnik's message states that the meeting was supposed to be, quote, not about money or Pericles, close quotes, but instead, quote, about recreating the old friendship, close quote, obstinately between Manafort and Deripaska, and talking about global politics. Manafort also replied by text that he needs this finished before January 20th, which appears to be a reference to resolving Pericles before the inauguration. On January 15, 2017, 3 days after his return from Madrid, Manafort emailed K.T. McFarlane, who was at the time designated to be Deputy National Security Advisor and was formally appointed to that position on January 20th, 2017. Manafort's January 15th email to McFarlane stated, quote, "I have some important information I want to share that I picked up on my travels over the last month," close quote. Manafort told the office that the email referred to an issue regarding Cuba, not Russia or Ukraine, and Manafort had traveled to Cuba in the past month. Either way, McFarlane, who was advised by Flynn not to respond to the Manafort inquiry, appears not to have responded to Manafort. Manafort told the office that around the time of the presidential inauguration in January, he met with Kimelnik and Ukraine oligarch Serhiy Lvovchenko at the Westin Hotel in Alexandria, Virginia. During this meeting, Kimelnik again discussed the Yanukovych peace plan that he had broached at the August 2nd meeting and in a detailed December 8, 2016 message found in Kimelnik's DMP email account. In that December 8th email, which Manafort acknowledged having read, Kimelnik wrote, quote, "All that is required to start the process is a very minor wink or slight push from DT," close quote, an apparent reference to President-elect Trump, and, quote, "and a decision to authorize you to be a special representative and manage the process," close quote. Kimelnik assured Manafort with that authority, he, quote, "could start the process and within 10 days visit Russia. Yanukovych guarantees your reception at the very top level," close quote, and that, quote, "DT could have peace in Ukraine basically within a few months after his inauguration," close quote. As noted above, redaction, grand jury, and statements to the office, Manafort sought to qualify his engagement in support for the plan, redaction, remainder of paragraph, grand jury. On February 26, 2017, Manafort met with Kimelnik in Madrid, where Kimelnik had flown from Moscow. In his first two interviews with the office, Manafort denied the meeting with Kimelnik on his Madrid trip, and then, after being confronted with documentary evidence that Kimelnik was in Madrid at the same time as him, recognized that he had met him in Madrid. Manafort said that Kimelnik had updated him on the criminal investigation into the so-called black ledger payments to Manafort that was being conducted by Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau, redaction, grand jury. Manafort remained in contact with Kimelnik throughout 2017 and to the spring of 2018. These contacts included matters pertaining to the criminal charges brought by the office and the Ukraine peace plan. In early 2018, Manafort retained his longtime polling firm to craft a draft poll in Ukraine, sent pollsters a 3-page primer on the plan sent by Kimelnik, and worked with Kimelnik to formulate the polling questions. The primer sent to the pollsters specifically called for the United States and President Trump to support the Autonomous Republic of Donbass with Yanukovych as Prime Minister, and a series of questions in the draft poll asked for opinions on Yanukovych's role in resolving the conflict in Donbass. The poll was not solely about Donbass. It also sought the participants' views on the leaders apart from Yanukovych as they pertain to the 2019 Ukraine presidential elections. The office has not uncovered evidence that Manafort brought the Ukraine peace plan to the attention of the Trump campaign or the Trump administration. Kimelnik continued his efforts to promote the peace plan to the executive branch, for example, the United States Department of State, into the summer of 2018.